In this video, we're going to learn about the different parts of an algebraic equation. There's going to be a lot of vocabulary in the beginning, so make sure you take good notes. Okay, in this expression, it is an expression because there is no equal sign here. We have 3 times 2y. And remember, if there's a number right next to a variable, that means multiplication. So this is really 2 times y. The first thing we're going to talk about is a constant. A constant is a number on its own, or sometimes it can be a letter that stands for a fixed number. But the important thing to remember is that it's always alone. It's not attached to a variable or a number like this, like the 2 and the y are over here. So this is a constant, and you can have multiple constants in an expression or in an equation. The next word we have to talk about is a variable. And in this expression, y is a variable. A variable is a symbol for a number that we do not know yet. It represents a value that we don't know. Usually we solve for a variable and discover what its value is. It does not always have to be y. It could be a symbol, or it could be another letter. X, Z, A. The letters are what you are going to be using this year. Next thing we have is a coefficient. A coefficient is a number used to multiply a variable. It is always before the variable. Now, if you remember in the beginning, I said if you have a number right next to a variable, it means to multiply. So the coefficient is right next to the variable, and you can imagine that there's a little multiplication sign in the middle. So this is showing 2 times y, and 2 is going to be the coefficient. If you remember from class and a few slides ago, I continue to refer to 3 times 2y as an expression, not an equation. The reason this is an expression is because there is no equal sign. It is just showing a relationship. So an expression shows a relationship between numbers and values, whereas an equation actually shows that the two expressions are equal. So an equation has an equal sign, an expression does not have an equal sign. Expression actually has an equal sign. It is saying that these two. Okay, this is another example now applying the terms that we've learned. So here we have a coefficient because it's multiplying the variable, which is x, and we have 2 constants in this example, 7 and 5, because they are standing alone. All right, another new word, term. A term can apply to many things. It can be a single number, as in 7 or 5. And now remember, those are also constants. So constant can be a term. It can also be a variable. If you just had a variable alone, such as 4 plus x equals 10, this x can be a term. And the last way that you can have a term is numbers and variables multiplied together. So here we have a number, which is 4, and a variable, which is x, and they are being multiplied together. So this whole thing is considered a term. But you have to be careful because it is only considered a term if it's separated by a plus or minus sign. So in this example, it's subtraction, which means that this can be a term, this is a term, and this is a term. For the second part of this video, we're going to review solving an equation. So in this equation, we have 2 plus y equals 13. And just to review, the 2 is a constant and a term. The y is a constant, a term, and a variable. And 13 is a term and a constant. So what we want to do here is solve for y. Y right now does not have a value, and we want to figure out what the value is. So your first step is to ask yourself, what is being done to the variable? So look here and what is being done to it. Well, 2 is being added to y. So what you want to do is undo whatever is being done to the variable. So if 2 is being added, we need to undo the addition. Now think about what operations go together. What will undo addition? Well, if you said subtraction, you are correct. You're going to use subtraction. The third thing you always want to remember is whatever you do to one side of the equation, so one side of the equal sign, you must always do to the other side. So let's look how to do this. Since 2 is being added to y, we're going to undo that by using subtraction. So we have 2 minus 2. And the reason that we do minus 2 is because we want to get rid of this 2 here. So 2 is being added. We want to undo that by subtracting 2. And whatever we do to this side, we need to do to this side. So on this side, as we subtract 2, 2 minus 2 is going to give us 0, and that cancels out. So what we're left with on the left side of the equation is just y, because we bring this y straight down. We bring the equal sign down, and then we're going to do 13 minus 2, which will equal 11. And so this is our answer, y equals 11. Now to make sure that you did everything correctly, you should check your work. The way you check your work is you substitute 11 in for y. So since you just found out the value for y is 11, substitute that into the equation. 2 plus 11 equals 13. That's what the equation says. Is it true? 2 plus 11 equals 13? Yes, it is. And so you know now that you are correct in solving this problem. Okay, things to remember for this lesson. All vocabulary. It is extremely important that you are able to identify the different parts of an expression and an equation. You also want to remember when solving an equation, you want to get the variable alone. And to do that, you look for whatever is being done to the variable and undo that. And lastly, what you do to one side, you must do to the other side of an equation. Here are 2 on your own problems. Be sure, I know some of you can solve these in your head, but be sure that you are showing your work the way that I showed in my example.